Are you still single? She said, looking me up and down with a mocking laugh. This woman, who took everything from me, is my sister. Dressed in gaudy and tacky clothes that stand out even in a crowded mall on a holiday, she looks at me with the same malicious expression. I never wanted to see the face of my sister, who has been taking everything from me since I was born, ever again, yet here we are. I feel a chill run down my spine from her vulgarity, unchanged since then, as she utters such words right off the bat. The image of her in the bedroom with my husband 9 years ago flashes back in my mind. My sister, playing the role of the utmost victim, says while sneakily glancing at me, I'm the worst one. My family blames me, believing her words. I haven't forgotten the look on my sister's face, mocking my despair. She probably wants to mock me again. Deciding I'm unhappy and seeming pleased about it. Shopping alone, huh, she laughs, but I find myself able to laugh back. Don't lump me in with the losers, will you? I'm confident I'm happier than you. Meeting her today was just perfect. Because I can mock her in return. Thinking so, I say with utmost calm. Let me introduce you to my husband and daughter. My name is Riker. I'm a housewife who finds happiness in spending time with my family every day. Being called cute and having a youthful face was a complex for me when I was younger, but now at 34, I'm slightly happy to be told I don't look my age. I have an older sister, 3 years my senior. Or perhaps it's more accurate to say I had one, as I've chosen to erase her existence from my life. My sister was always clever, academically excellent, and beautiful. She was the pride of our parents. On the other hand, I wasn't particularly good in my studies or very savvy. My sister always seemed to feel superior by considering me as an absolutely lower being. When we were left home alone and she spilled juice, she would blame it on me, saying, Riker spilled it, but I cleaned it up for her. When our neighbor praised me for greeting them, my sister would boastfully claim, I told her to greet you like that. When it came out that I had bought clothes with the gift card from my grandparents, she told my parents as if I had bought them, saying, Riker, you should not spend it like that. My sister has always been very good at making it seem like the mistakes were mine and that she was covering for me. My parents completely trust her, telling me, Riker, you're always causing trouble for your sister. Don't make things hard for her. If I argued back or blamed my sister, she would badmouth me to my loved ones and ruin my relationships. My parents wouldn't believe anything I said. So, I never argued back and just tried to keep the peace. I got married at the age of 25. But my sister was still single at the time. The fact that I got married before her was unbearable for her. Seeing me unhappy satisfied her needs, so seeing me happy must have been the ultimate humiliation for her. My sister seduced my husband and had an affair. Right after I got married. She cleverly made her way into our new home by telling my husband, Riker said she's staying at her parents' house tonight because she has to get up early tomorrow. She asked me to cook dinner for you instead. Meanwhile, she texted me saying, I'm going to drop off some cake from the new bakery near the station. Ken invited me to join, so I'll be waiting at your place. I had a bad feeling and rushed home to find silence in the living room, but heard creaking sounds from the bedroom. When I cautiously opened the bedroom door, I found my sister and husband cuddling on our bed. My sister had intentionally made sure I would catch them in bed together, just to see my devastated face. I knew this was the kind of person she was. I had already told Ken about all the times I had to endure things because of my sister since we were kids. And yet, why? The shock of being cheated on so soon into my marriage, and by my sister no less, infuriated me. I confronted Ken, she's my sister, you know? If you're gonna cheat, at least pick someone else. My sister then tearfully admitted, I'm sorry. You're right. Ken, we should have considered Riker's feelings. It was wrong of us. Riker, I'm the one to blame. I'm sorry. But inwardly, she was probably laughing. She wanted to see this face of mine. That's not the kind of person who would genuinely show such a remorseful attitude. It was so forced it was laughable. I have nothing to say to you. Then Ken defiantly said, "No, it's not Sala's fault. I've been attracted to Sala for a long time. It's all on me. I've never met someone as beautiful, inside and out, as her before. It's not Ken's fault. It's mine," my sister said. What am I being shown here? Perpetrators covering for each other. Seriously, he's been attracted to her from way before? And she's supposed to be a person with a beautiful soul? I can only sigh in disbelief. If he really knew my sister's true nature, he wouldn't say such things. You know, generally speaking, there's no doubt both of you are at fault. But first, Ken and I need to have a conversation as a couple, so please, Sala, just stay quiet, I said, attempting to speak with my husband when the doorbell rang. It was our parents at the door. "We got a call from Sala telling us to check on Riker. What's all this commotion? Sala is crying, isn't she?" As soon as they stepped in and saw my sister crying, they lashed out at me. "You have such a caring sister, and yet you yell at her? Something's wrong with you, Riker," they scolded. I knew it was wrong, but I fell in love. And when I found out Ken felt the same, I couldn't control my feelings. My sister cried, and my parents sympathized with her. Even if I explained, they'd say, "Sala is so kind, she's always hidden her feelings for Ken. Sala didn't mean any harm." Falling in love is just like that, right? Riker, you're not trying to understand her feelings. Ken falling for the kind Sala over you, who doesn't try to understand others, seems only natural. I'm the only one who distrusts my sister. Everyone here is an enemy. My words fall on deaf ears. It's always been this way. This is normal. Just because you're married doesn't mean your partner will always stand by you. After all, even my own parents don't believe me. Resigned, I suppressed my feelings and swallowed the words I wanted to say. My husband immediately said he wanted a divorce, but I wasn't ready to make that decision yet. Marriage and divorce aren't things to be taken lightly, I thought. Even before we were married, his family would say, "Riker is truly the ideal wife." My in-laws understood me better than my own family. I didn't want to disappoint them. More than anything, I didn't want to let things go my sister's way. However, unbeknownst to me, my sister had apparently gone to meet my in-laws. Suddenly, my in-laws said, "Please divorce Ken. If you continue this marriage, Ken will live through hell. We can't stand to see Ken become unhappy because of you." I didn't understand what they were told, but it seemed like my in-laws thought of me as the bad guy. Eventually, even my in-laws sided with my sister. At home, my husband kept pressuring me to sign the divorce papers every day. Our home became an uncomfortable space. I lost my appetite. In front of me, my husband would keep calling, saying, "Just wait a little longer. I haven't signed the divorce papers yet." "It's okay, I only love Sala." Exhausted mentally and physically, one day, I signed the divorce papers and submitted them. In an empty room, I wrote my last letter. "I've submitted the divorce papers." My happiness vanished in a moment. "Just like you don't need me, I don't need you anymore. I have no family. I don't plan to contact or see you ever again. The apology for the wounds I've suffered will be paid in the form of alimony. I'll hire a lawyer, so please direct any future correspondence to them. Goodbye." I wrote this letter thinking it would surely be shown not just to my sister but also to my parents and in-laws. This is what you call cutting ties. I've finally become alone. Though I felt a bit lonely, there was a sense of relief, as if freed from chains that had been holding me. When I claimed alimony, he surprisingly agreed without much fuss. It seemed they relied on my parents and his parents. Both couples, and my parents, called me a heartless woman, but I could hardly muster even a laugh. Anyway, I received the alimony and cut ties with my family. During that time, I didn't receive any contact from anyone and spent my days in a truly peaceful state. 9 years later, I was living in a different place from my hometown and visited a newly opened mall. When I felt someone's gaze and looked around, I locked eyes with a woman dressed in flashy colors. Her eyes seemed to be glaring, yet smiling. A chill ran down my spine, and suddenly, I couldn't move my legs. I knew those eyes. It was my sister. With the same disdainful look she's always had, my sister approached me and whispered, "Long time no see. You haven't changed a bit. Shopping alone, huh? Are you still single?" If it were the old me, I might have just looked down without saying a word. But this time, for some reason, I was utterly calm. The bustling atmosphere of the shopping mall seemed to prevent this from becoming a space just for the two of us. Perhaps because of the lively music playing in the stores, I was able to answer in a surprisingly cheerful voice. "Long time no see. It's good to see you're well too. Actually, this is a great opportunity to introduce you to my husband and daughter." While we were having this conversation, my husband and daughter returned to me at just the right moment, saying, "There you are." We couldn't decide on a present for Mom, so we thought we'd pick it out together. Today, we came to the mall because my daughter invited me, saying, "It's almost Mom's birthday, let's go buy a present." Seeing my husband and daughter, my sister's mouth fell open, speechless. I was a bit surprised she realized it. After all, my current husband goes by the name Sean and is quite a famous celebrity. That's why, when he's not working, he tries not to be recognized as a celebrity by wearing hats or masks. My sister's eyes widened even more when she saw Jolie next to Sean. My daughter has been active as a child actor since before she started kindergarten, and now at the age of 10, she's also appearing in dramas. Like Sean, she's in disguise. That my sister recognized them despite their disguises suggests she knew who Sean and Jolie were. While my sister looked at them in astonishment, she grabbed my shoulder tightly and growled in a low voice. "How could someone like you marry a celebrity? What did you do? There must be something shady behind this." Her voice was chillingly cold, but I glared back at her fiercely. However, my sister's expression suddenly turned bright and cheerful. Caught off guard by her quick change of demeanor, Sean, who had approached us, subtly placed himself between my sister and me, preventing her from touching me further. Before Sean could say anything, my sister put on a refreshingly bright smile like I'd never seen before. "Nice to meet you. I'm Sulla, Riker's sister. Riker hasn't been in touch with us at all, so we haven't seen each other in a long time. But I'm so happy to see you today. I've been really worried, so it's a relief. Let's all get together for a meal sometime soon. I've actually been a huge fan of you too," she said in a honeyed voice. It seemed she genuinely was a big fan of my husband and daughter. "You sang the theme song for that drama you starred in, right? It was the best. No matter the role, your acting is incredible, and I always get so drawn in," she gushed about the dramas and TV shows they had appeared in, speaking breathlessly. She also complimented my daughter, "You were singing in that drama, right? I went to that special live performance. Your singing is so good, just like Sean's. Your eyes, don't they resemble Sean's? But your smile is definitely like Naomi's. After all, she's your real mom. Born to such beautiful parents, of course, you're cute. It's a bit sad, though, that a real family of 3 can't live together," she said with a smile. Naomi is Sean's ex-wife. A very beautiful woman who juggles modeling and acting. As if to spite me, my sister kept lavishly praising how much Jolie resembled her real mom. Jolie seemed to notice my sister's true intentions, but kept smiling. "People say I resemble my dad, especially my nose. And I often hear my mom's eyes. But my friends say I'm kind-hearted like my mom when someone's in trouble. I'm really happy to have such a wonderful mom and mother." My sister, who seemed to want to coax out some expression of longing for her real mother from Jolie, froze with a smile at Jolie's words. Seeing my sister at a loss for words, Sean sighed softly, spun me around, and gently pushed me to walk. "You must be busy, so we'll be going now," I heard Sean say as he ended the conversation, with Jolie pulling at my hand. My sister's voice calling out "wait" or "just a moment" faded away, and Sean, who caught up with us, let out a light laugh. It was too obvious to miss. "Let's hurry before she catches up." Jolie and Sean led me through various stores in the mall at a brisk pace. Eventually, my sister couldn't keep up, and we breathed a sigh of relief as we got into the car. Their firm stance was because I had shared everything with them. After 9 years, I have someone who unwaveringly believed in me. It was indescribably joyous. Growing up, I was often referred to as, "Oh, you're her sister," always defined by my sister's presence. She protected me in elementary school so I wouldn't be left out. She may be happy to be praised as a dependable sister. Then, she began to crave more and more praise. Gradually, my sister started introducing me to everyone she met. "She's a bit clumsy, but a good kid. Struggles with math, but does a bit better in linguistics. She's shy, so it might take some time to warm up." Opposite to my sister, who was praised as the kind and reliable one, I was labeled as the clumsy sister, the one who couldn't do math, the one who was just not as good as her sister. My sister got a taste for being valued by putting me down. So, she started spreading the word about my weaknesses and hated it whenever I tried to overcome them. If I was studying extra math problems at home, she'd invite friends over to play loudly next to me, making it hard to concentrate. If I was practicing running on the track because I was slow, she'd gather her friends on the same track to play dodgeball, creating an environment where I couldn't practice well. To our parents, my sister was the wonderful older sister who looked out for her less capable sibling. I was always the clumsy one, inferior to my sister in every aspect. That environment was unbearable for me, so when I entered middle school, I asked to board with my grandparents. Luckily, my grandparents were the type who treated their grandchildren equally, without favoring one over the other because of their birth order. So, when I said I wanted to live with them to go to school, they simply responded, "We don't mind. Discuss it with your family and decide." I remember bringing it up to my parents, who glanced at me and simply said, "Sure." They then went back to watching TV or opening a beer, without asking why or how long I planned to stay. It was clear I wasn't loved or cared about, which hurt. But at the same time, I felt a sense of relief at being freed from my parents and sister. I lived with my grandparents from middle through high school, experiencing a freedom I'd never known before. I couldn't bear to return home for college, so I worked part-time and lived on my own. The comfort of being away from my sister was irreplaceable, and I felt truly at peace and happy. Returning to the stifling life with my sister as an adult only happened because my parents asked me to come back home. Elated to feel needed by my parents for the first time, I quickly returned home, only to discover the reason I was needed was for my sister's sake. "Sala wants to go to nail technician school, so we need your help," they told me. Essentially, my sister attending vocational school meant additional expenses, and my parents were hoping for financial contributions from my salary. Realizing the truth was disheartening, yet my parents said, "It's such a relief to have Riker here since Sala is always chasing her dreams." We're at ease knowing Riker has a stable job, which made me hold back tears. That moment of being valued over my sister made it hard to leave home again. Feeling happy about that, I found it hard to leave my family home and continued living there for quite some time. That's when I met and married my ex-husband, only to be betrayed by him, my sister, and my parents, leaving me alone again. Amidst this despair, I managed to pick myself up and start living on my own again. Then, the invitation to my high school reunion arrived, sparked a desire to return to my true self and reconnect with people who knew the real me. And then, I reconnected with Sean at the reunion. When Sean showed up at the reunion, everyone was shocked. We never thought the Sean from our class and the celebrity Sean were the same person, everyone said. And for good reason. Back in high school, Sean was more of the inconspicuous type. He wasn't exceptionally good in his studies, but he wasn't a troublemaker either. He was always smiling gently among us, but wasn't the kind to leave a strong impression. He talked with a laugh, where I could see glimpses of the high school Sean. In high school, Sean and I were reasonably good friends, but nothing beyond friends. So, I had no intention of approaching the now popular Sean at the reunion. It was when I went to get a drink alone. "Riker!" Sean greeted me with a smile. "Do you remember me? Or maybe not." Since you were stunning, I probably wasn't even in your sights," he said while scratching his head, making me laugh involuntarily. Me? Then he looked at me seriously and said, "It's true." I was taken aback. "I remember you, Sean. We were on the cultural festival leader together. You always took on the jobs everyone else found too bothersome, always with a smile." I had thought that was admirable. The idea of someone willingly doing something for others amazed me. "You were the same, Riker." "I know. You were always the last to leave the meetings. Your name was always on the key return list. You stayed behind to clean up after everyone had gone, didn't you?" Oh, someone had been watching. I was praised for something I thought was just natural to do. Over 10 years ago, yet he remembered it all so clearly. I found myself naturally saying, "Thank you." Sean, scratching his head again, replied, "Thank you too." Then he added, "Riker, would you like to go out for a drink sometime? Actually, I came today wanting to see you. But now that we've met, I find myself wanting to talk more." Surprised by the unexpected invitation, I too realized I wanted to talk more. Forgetting that he was a celebrity, I agreed, yes, I'd love to. From then on, we began to enjoy our time together, just the two of us. He even introduced me to his daughter, Julie. Far from rejecting me, she said, "My dad always gets so much help from you. It's a secret from Dad, okay? It's a bit lonely being with the sitter," she confided in me. In that moment, I found myself wanting to be there not just for Sean but for this child too, despite the complication of his ex-wife. Sean had told me he and his ex-wife, a famous and popular actress named Naomi, had grown apart due to work and family, leading to their divorce. Julie's wishes were prioritized in the custody arrangement. Though Sean often relied on a sitter due to his busy schedule, Naomi was even busier, mainly relying on sitters and barely able to see Julie once a month. Julie chose to live with Sean, seeing Naomi once a month. Then one day, the news of Naomi's remarriage was announced. Her new husband was an actor based overseas, and Naomi had moved there too. I immediately worried about Julie and went to see her. She knew in advance and bravely said, "My mom's making her Hollywood debut." Yet, I could hear the loneliness in her voice. Moving overseas would make even monthly visits difficult. Unable to bear it, I hugged her tightly. Feeling strongly that I wanted to be by her side, blood relation or not, to prevent her loneliness. From then on, I kept in touch with Julie daily, visiting whenever I could. We talked about everything, from school to work. And when Julie hugged me, trembling and saying, "This is my mom," to a friend while we were out shopping, that sealed my decision. I accepted Sean's proposal, and we became a new family. After our encounter at the mall, my sister and ex-husband relentlessly tried to contact me through phone calls, emails, messages, and letters, saying things like, "I want to see you soon, when are you available, and may I visit you?" Whether they wanted to get close to a celebrity or were after money, I couldn't tell, but they were desperate to ingratiate themselves with me. They even sent words of regret about the past 9 years, saying, "I'm sorry for what happened, I was wrong. I never intended to take everything from you, Riker, you are my only and precious sister." However, I haven't forgotten what happened 9 years ago. No matter if they begged, I had no intention of forgiving them. When I cut off contact, they went as far as ambushing Julie at her school, pleading with her, "Please ask your mom and dad, and tell them your aunt and uncle love you." They lied to our classmates, claiming, "Riker's parents are critically ill, but we can't get in touch," to extract our address and lay in wait at our home. They even introduced themselves as our relatives to the neighbors, saying, "We're moving nearby soon." Feeling threatened, we decided to move. Being celebrities, Sean and Julie had many resources to escape. After the move and leaving the matter to Sean's agency, the harassment from my sister and ex-husband ceased. Even after losing contact, my sister desperately followed Sean around. Maybe she couldn't resist the urge to snatch Sean, whom she had always been a big fan of. Or perhaps she found meaning in stealing my happiness. Having already taken a husband from me once, she probably thought she could do it again. But for Sean, my sister was nothing more than a dangerous person. She sent emails to his agency, saying things like, "Break up with Riker, you should be with me, you really love me, don't you? I'll come and get you," quickly getting marked by the company. She even went so far as to pay our friends to dig up contact information and my workplace. Not all friends were on our side. Leaked information led my sister to Sean, turning her into a frightening stalker. I once caught a glimpse of my sister chasing after Sean. Dressed in high-end clothes and bags, with beautifully groomed hair and glamorous makeup. Her bloodshot eyes and sunken cheeks ruined her beauty. She looked frightfully thin, as if she had been on an extreme diet. When she tried to cling to Sean with her frail arms and lashed out at Jolie, the police and Sean's agency were finally able to take action. A restraining order was quickly issued, and she was nearly charged with assault and other offenses. As usual, my parents still doted on my sister, who remained beloved. But their gossipy nature led them to boast about having a famous celebrity in the family, even though we had cut ties with them. To the neighbors, it seemed like a lie, and recently, they've started to keep their distance. After marrying Sean, I quit my previous job and now assist with Sean and Jolie's talent activities. They have modernly embraced the online alongside our main jobs, engaging in streaming activities. Sometimes, I appear as a performer too, though my face and figure are hidden. Supporting their activities has become my raison d'être. My daughter has grown quite attached to me, treating me, her stepmother, like her real mom. I find her just as adorable as if she were my own. She often shares on social media about our outings, and we receive comments like the ideal parent-child duo and just like sisters from the public. Sean continues to dote on me and our daughter, often sharing lovey-dovey stories about us on TV. Our love story, of a high school crush blossoming after many years, seems like a miraculous tale to many, attracting interest from novelists and filmmakers. Once, my ex-husband even showed up attempting to mooch off our success but was swiftly escorted away by security before I even knew it. Sean's parents, who remembered me from just one meeting in high school, now treat me like real family, going on trips together. When we got married, my in-laws said, "We're so happy Riker, who cares so deeply for others, is joining Sean as his wife. From now on, you're family. We'll cherish you like our own daughter." Sean tells me, "I'm happy just having Riker by my side." My daughter thanks me for being her mom. From hitting rock bottom 9 years ago, I now live each day in true happiness with my real